bounced on the side twice, just like that ranger had demonstrated during training. Puckett hefted the lightweight weapon, wondering why the 7th Cavalry was the first to receive such incredible guns way out here on the frontier. But Sergeant Tyson and those fancy-suited federal officers he'd arrived with would only talk about it with the general, and apparently he hadn't said anything even to his own officers. The clatter of shod hooves on stony soil interrupted Puckett's thoughts. He turned to see the general on his white horse trotting down the row behind the men. The man wore a white tasseled buckskin jacket with his blue uniform pants, and a broad-brimmed white hat with one side pinned up. A knotted gold scarf hung loosely around his neck. He sported a thick blonde mustache and goatee, and his curly golden hair reached his shoulders. He also carried one of the new weapons, although this one was a small and oddly flat pistol currently holstered on his belt. Puckett had seen the general shoot a dozen rounds in rapid succession with it during target practice. "The troops are in position and ready, sir," Captain Hammond called out to the general. "I expect so," Major General George Armstrong Custer barked in response. "Fire only on my command." "Yes, sir." Sergeant Puckett had been looking at the general, but now he heard a low rumble carried in on the breeze. He turned and peered downrange, focusing on a broad hill at the other end of the open plain, searching for a sign of the enemy and listening to the rumble grow. "There!" The first of the horsemen crested the hill in a ragged line 300 yards away. The general drew his pistol but held it at his side. "Hold your fire, men!" he warned, watching the approaching line of savages stream down the side of the hill. Within seconds the line became a flood, as hundreds of Sioux and Cheyenne poured into the wide valley. The rumble became a drumming roar as thousands of hooves pounded the grassy prairie. Whooping war cries rose from the advancing Indians as they spotted the line of 7th Cavalry soldiers. "Steady!" Sergeant Puckett felt sweat beading his brow and dripping from his armpits. He aimed at one of the lead Indians, a Sioux on a gray horse covered with red handprints. He rested his finger on the trigger, aching to pull. "Steady!" Puckett licked his lips nervously. They were getting too close, and there were so many of them. "Fire!" 260 men fired almost as one. All along the front line, Indians toppled from their saddles. Horses stumbled and fell, screaming. Those few soldiers who still carried the Springfield carbines worked quickly to extract their spent shells and insert fresh cartridges. Not so those with the new rifles. They merely shifted aim slightly and squeezed the trigger again, and again, and again, and again, with deadly accuracy. Their light-popping report belied their amazing lethality. Then came a deeper, roaring chatter from the left and right sides of the line, as 4 soldiers opened fire with yet another of the new weapons. This firearm was even more remarkable and frightening than either the multiple-shot rifles or the general's flat pistol. The lightweight bipod-mounted machine guns poured out long bursts of bullets as their gunners traversed their fire back and forth across the charging wave of Indian warriors. Other soldiers beside them fed belts of ammunition into the roaring weapons, which gobbled up the cartridges at a tremendous rate and spat the empty, smoking shells out the side. Puckett, a veteran of the Civil War who had seen nearly every weapon used on both sides, noted that not even the fearsome Gatling gun could maintain that rapid rate of fire. The Indians faltered. So many had gone down under the devastating rain of bullets that the ones behind were tripping over the bodies of their fellow warriors. They milled about, unable to press forward, the crowding wall of warriors behind them preventing their retreat. "Hurrah, boys, we've got them!" General Custer bellowed, firing his own pistol repeatedly into the mass of dying men. "We'll finish them up and then go home to our station." Sergeant Puckett emptied his first magazine and reached into a canvas pouch affixed to his belt for another. He was no longer nervous. This was just like target practice. He reloaded and took aim again. October 6th, 1998. Dan McBride trudged up the front steps of his house. He stamped the dust from his boots.